Hosted by Matt Rich. Watch the market unfold. Turning data to gold. Watch the market unfold. Turning data to gold. Watch the market unfold. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you're tuning in from around the globe, peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Welcome to the $1 Trillion Tickers broadcast. I'm your host, Matt Riches. It is Wednesday, July 1st, 2026. Happy Wednesday. Happy Q3. Q3 has started with a split market. The fear and greed index is at 32, so we're still in fear. Meta was the strongest $1 trillion ticker today, up 8.8%. Microsoft came in a strong second, up 3%. But memory and the semiconductors got hit hard. MU was the biggest laggard, down 10.5%. SpaceX was down 7.8%. And TSM was down 6.9%. So today was not a clean risk-on day. It was a day of rotation. Communications and financial showed strength. Technology was under pressure. And the memory stocks gave back a lot of the recent momentum. I track the headlines, the data, and the market levels so you don't have to. This show is for education and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research, but you can use this show as a foundation. Before we get into the charts, let's get into our mantra for our mindset. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve the wealth that I'm building for me and my family. Riches and freedom, they come to our hands. I'm the master of all I command. My learning is limitless. My earnings are too. The more I discover, the more I can do. The stock market is a machine of design, and I have the power to make that wealth mine. I am capable. I am skilled. I am bold. Blessings on the journey as the vision unfolds. All right, now let's get into the data. So when it comes to the main ETFs that we cover on the show, SPY down 0.1%, QQQ down 1.5%, IWM down 0.3%. The VIX was up 0.7%, is now at 16.58. So volatility is not exploding, but it did move higher while tech came under pressure. That tells us that traders are still cautious. Now let's get into the $1 trillion tickers. Yes, Meta was big dog today, up almost 9%. Barron's reported that Meta surged after news that the company plans to sell excess computing power to third parties. That gave the market a fresh reason to reprice Meta's AI infrastructure story. Microsoft was the second best $1 trillion ticker today, up 3%. That is important because Microsoft had been under a lot of pressure recently, so today's move gave it some relief. Now let's talk about the laggards. MU was the worst $1 trillion ticker for today, down 10.5%. That is a major reversal after the huge earnings-driven move we saw recently. SpaceX was down almost 8%. TSM was down almost 7%. And the broader memory group was weak across the board. That is the main story underneath the surface. The market is still trying to figure out the AI trade. Meta rallied because investors like the idea of monetizing excess compute, but the hardware and memory side of it sold off hard. That is a major split. Okay, the biggest pressure came from technology. Let's see. Key takeaway. Today was a rotation day. Now let's get into Robert Greene's daily law for today. Title: Wear the appropriate mask. Daily law: playing with appearances and mastering the arts of deception are among the aesthetic pleasures of life. They are also key components in the acquisition of power. Today's law is about adapting to the moment. Robert Greene reminds us that the same face, the same tone, and the same strategy do not work in every environment. The person who knows how to adjust has more options. The person who refuses to adjust becomes predictable. For long-term investors, today's market showed why flexibility matters. The AI story is not over. It is changing. Meta was rewarded because investors saw a new way to monetize AI infrastructure. Memory stocks were punished because investors questioned whether the recent run had gone too far. Both things can be true at the same time. That is why investors have to adjust to what the market is actually rewarding. For day traders, today was a perfect example of why you cannot trade the market as a single story. Excuse me. Meta strength did not mean that all tech was strong. Microsoft strength did not save the memory names. QQQ weakness did not mean every mega cap stock was weak. The edge comes from reading each name, each sector, and each level for what it is. Stay patient, stay disciplined. Execution over emotion. Process over prediction. Now let's get on these charts, y'all. All right, first up we got Nvidia down 1.25% today. So this is the 30-minute chart. So every candle is a 30-minute candle. So the beginning of the day, that's when Nvidia hit the low of the day of 193.45, and it hit a high day at 12 p.m. at 199.85. So a nice recovery throughout the day for Nvidia, closing at 197.58. Google also had the low of day on the first candle. It hit 356 today, and they hit a high of day at 7:30 a.m. of 362.97. It ended up closing at 361.21, and it was up 1% on the day. Next, we got Apple. Also hit a low of day on the first candle of 289.20, hit a high of day at 8 o'clock of 296.59, ended up closing at 249.38, up 1.7% on the day. Microsoft also, first candle of the day was a low of day, 374.89, hit a high of day at 11 a.m. candle at 388.83, ended up closing at 384.28, up 3% on the day. Next, we got Amazon. First candle of the day was a low of day, 234.90. High of day at 10 a.m. candle, 244.90. End up closing at 241.70, up 1.4% on the day. Next, we had TSM. This actually had the high of day on the first candle of 468.51. Had a low of day at 11:30 candle at 443.47. End up closing at 444.23, down 6.9%. Next, we had SpaceX. High a day on the first candle as well, 171.74. Hit a lower day on the last candle of the day of 155. Ended up closing at 157.54, down 7.8% on the day. Bam. Next, we had AVGO. They hit a high day on the 7 o'clock candle of 373. Hit a lower day at 9:30 candle of 368.03. Ended up closing at 369.34, down 2.2%. Next, we had Tesla. They hit a lower day on the first candle of 418.09. Hit a high of day at 8 a.m. of 432. Excuse me. Ended up closing at 425.30, up 1.1% on the day. Meta, our leader for the day, hit a lower day on the first candle at 595.10. Hit a high of day at 8 o'clock of 628.28. Ended up closing at 612.91, up 8.8%. Next, we got MU. Hit a high day on the first candle of $1,097. Hit a lower day on the last candle of $1,032. End up closing at $1,032.28, down 10.5% on the day. Next, we got Berkshire B. Hit a lower day on the first candle of $499.08. Hit a high day at the 9:30 candle of $503.83. End up closing at $499.74, down 0.1% on the day. And lastly, Eli Lilly hit a high of day on the first candle of $1,217. Hit a low of day at 10:30 candle of $1,173. End up closing at $1,191.74, down 0.64%. Okay, let's check out SPY. SPY actually hit a low of day on the first candle, $742.38. Hit a high of day on the 9 o'clock candle at $749.44. Ended up closing at $745.76, down 0.1% on the day. Next, we had QQQ. Ended up hitting a high of day at 8:30 candle at $731.92. Hit a low day on the last candle at $724.60. Ended up closing at $725.17, down 1.5% on the day. Next, we got the Russell 2000 IWM. Ended up hitting a lower day on the first candle of $298.92. Hit a high of day at 8:30. That was actually an all-time high, as well as high of day of 302.72. And if you tuned into the pre-market briefing show, I gave you this price line, discovery line price here at 302.60, and that was before the market opened. So if you had taken profits there, you would have just been 12 cents away from the high of day. So that would have been a great exit. Shout out to me for that. All right, so I did do a trade today. I traded Google. So I'm going on a 5-minute chart so you can see. So, you know how I like to trade my strategy. Let's put on the VWAP and the EMAs here. So I had my 9 EMA cross the VWAP here. So this was my entry, and then this is my exit. Nothing too crazy. Maybe I should go on a 1-minute chart since it was a pretty quick trade. What was I in the trade? Let me see. I was in the trade for 6 minutes. And I ended up making how much did I make? $110 in 6 minutes. I traded the 355 calls for Friday or Thursday expiration. 2 contracts. Got in at 7:30, got out at 7:36. Made $110. So yeah, I'm getting better with my day trading. I think it's time to increase the contract size. Also, I did a little tester trade, trading futures on Robinhood, and that went well. I think I'm gonna have to trade micro futures, but that's fine. I can do that as well, because the amount of money that you have to have in your account for regular futures is a lot. Like, it's a lot. So that's why I gotta trade micros. But the good thing about trading futures is you don't have to worry about the delta or the theta or any of those Any of those. I forget what it's called. But it's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, yeah, all you gotta do is get the direction right, get your entry good, and get your exit out. You ain't gotta worry about none of that other stuff. So I think instead of trading IWM like I've been doing, I'm gonna just trade the Russell mini future, and then instead of trading the Qs, I'm gonna just trade the Nasdaq mini. Instead of trading SPY, I'm gonna just trade the ES mini, and we'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna go well because if I don't have to worry about theta, I can just get it right, and it's gonna be so when it does pull back, it's not gonna pull back crazy. So yeah, we on. Let's go. We trading futures, baby. We back. All right, next, let's actually read some news. Let's see what we got, folks. First piece of news. This was from Zay a few days ago. He said Microsoft Palantir and ServiceNow cooked him in the month of June. So even master traders like Zay can lose 3 trades in a month. So everybody lose trades. It's about cutting your losses quick and letting the runners run. That's what it's all about, folks. Next, Michael Burry. Y'all know who he is. He just bought last week he bought some Microsoft Leaps expiring December 2028 with a $700 strike. At the time, Microsoft was trading at $352. He said $350 is where he'd buy the stock outright. But he chose Leaps instead, calling them inexpensive. So that's a good look for Microsoft. Actually, I did buy some more shares around that price. I was scaling in Microsoft in June, so my lowest cost basis was around that $350 price. And that was my last entry on there. So shout out Barry, man. We'll see how it go. Next, I thought this was very interesting and funny. Bitcoin TJ. We haven't talked about him on the show for a while, but I do follow him on Twitter. So he said, I sold my home and my 2 Teslas when Bitcoin was 60,000. I watched it go up to 126,000 and didn't sell. A year later, we're back at 60,000 and I don't have a home or my Teslas. And he just got the picture of bruh from Snowfall with all these different scenes. Why is it not shown? It should be shown here on the screen. Let me see if I can make it show. Let's see. What is that? Twitter. There we go. Okay, we on. Yeah, so this was the 16-second video of different images he showed of bro from Snowfall when he told the story about Bitcoin. Yeah, you heard this story. That's tough, man. That is tough. You didn't sell none of it? You could have sold 1 Tesla worth of it. At least at 100,000. It went up to 126. That shit broke back under 100. You should have sold some of it. Man, that's tough, bro. Hold your head, Brody. Next, An 86-year-old woman in Canada was just scammed for $900,000 using AI deepfakes. The 86-year-old saw a AI deepfake ad of Prime Minister Mark Carney promoting a crypto investment on the platform of Facebook. She started with $350 and invested every single dollar she had, then took out a $300,000 mortgage to invest further. The scammer stopped responding after the final $300,000 payment. Her name was Judy Skeen. Dang. Judy. I'm actually surprised that she even wanted to invest in crypto. Like, somebody in the 80s wants to invest in crypto? That is insane. If they do, that's a tough, man. That's tough, man. Woo! Next, Trump said communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest. I think I'd be the greatest communist in history. Shout out Trump for the comedy relief, man. Comedic relief. Next, retail investors poured nearly a $12 billion, a record $12 billion into the U.S. semiconductor ETFs over the past month. That was June, y'all. That was June. Next, this is from Investing Bay. She said the fastest way to drain an account is needing the market to save you financially. Ooh, yeah, you're not going to be able to focus. Next, Boomer. This is from Call Sheet. It says boomers bought $70,000 houses while making $40,000 a year. They're trying to convince Gen Z that a $700,000 starter house while making $60K is the same thing. Great point. Great point. Yeah, boomers was able to actually afford multiple homes on one income. That's why a lot of them had families on the other side of town. The wife could stay at home and raise the kids, and the man could go to the factory and have two homes across town from each other. Money ain't the same no more. Next, so Trump is talking about building the biggest golf course ever. Well, I don't know if it's ever, but the proposed overhaul includes redesigning the existing layout into a par 72, 7,660 yard, 18-hole course, along with a short pitch and putt course and expanded practice areas. This is Trump's East Potomac Golf Course overhaul. I'm sure he'll tell you it's the greatest golf course ever created. Next, oh man, this guy here. Netflix director Carl Rinsch, Rinsch, sentenced to 2 years in prison for $11 million fraud. The director bought a $439,000 mattress and 6 luxury cars instead of finishing a Netflix sci-fi project. That is interesting because I didn't even know they sold mattresses for $439,000. What kind of mattress is that? Hastings? What do you get with it? Like, okay, it's a king size mattress, I assume. But what do you get? What comes with the mattress, man? That's so ridiculous. That is like unbelievable. Anyway, he bought 5 Rolls Royces and a Ferrari with the money that people invested for the movie. Not all investments is good investments, y'all. He received a 2.5-year prison sentence with orders to pay $11 million in restitution to Netflix plus legal fees following his December conviction. The judge noted that the excessive purchases suggested a manic state alongside the fraud, while Keanu Reeves submitted a leniency letter citing him self-sabotaging tendencies and ongoing mental health treatment. Keanu Reeves, bro. He like, nah. Come on, bro. Instead of finishing the movie, he bought a fucking mattress. Excuse me. He bought a $400,000 mattress, Rolls Royces, and a Ferrari. And Keanu Reeves submitting a leniency letter. Come on, bro. What's that about? Keanu, what's going on, man? Get him. Why don't you pay them people their money back? Instead of writing a letter. Next, Dan Ives from Wedbush Securities has decided to leave Wedbush to launch a merchant bank. The new firm will include research, capital raising, advisory, and investing in what Ives describes as a modern merchant bank across sectors such as technology, energy, infrastructure, and financials. He must really be getting a bag, man. He like, man, I don't need Wedbush no more. Shoot. Nah, I mean, he worked there for 25 years, though. So, I guess it's time for him to get the majority of the bag instead of helping the company get the bag. This transaction enables Ives to move beyond sell-side analysts into direct deal-making and capital deployment. There you go. Shout out Dan Ives, man. Super Bull, Tech Bull. Oh, I thought this was interesting here. Next, on July 23rd, 2025, Trump purchased up to $5 million of ABGO, Meta, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia. Later that day, Trump unveiled its AI action plan, a policy that benefited those companies. He also invested in some ETFs like SPY, SPHQ, VIG. So out of those 12, only 2 of them are red over the past 12 months. 10 out of 12, Trump. Good job, man. Good job. That's some good stock picking right there. Hey, when you can influence the market and still be wrong, 2 out of 10, 2 out of 12 times, you just being wrong just to be wrong, just to say, man, I didn't get them all right. I got 2 of them wrong. Look. Those are probably his smallest investments. But shout out Trump, man. One thing you're going to do is get that bag. Why did Meta have the best day out of the $1 trillion tickers? Because, it's according to CNBC, shares of Meta popped on Wednesday following the news that the company is building out a new cloud business that could help recoup some of the billions of dollars it's poured into artificial intelligence infrastructure. Meta will sell its excess computing power to outside customers. There it is, y'all. There it is. You know how we like to end the show. Some Instagram motivation.
Chase excellence, never chase money. Why? Because money has an incredible way of finding excellence. Did you chase excellence and not money? Do you have the intellectual curiosity to learn everything you can about this incredible industry and master it? Become the smartest person in the room. Have you mastered it?
There's nothing a man can do to stop you if you learn the stock market. The stock market is the only thing that I know of that doesn't require other people to make money or marketing or ass kissing anything. That's why I love it, because it gives me a sense of like, I made $5,000 today. If I know I can make $5,000 to $10,000 a day, there's no possible thing a man can tell me to do. If I know how to do that without talking to you, and then you can shut down my account and I can go trade from somebody else's account and just break them off, you can never stop me. There's nothing they can really tell me at this point once I figure this out. And now I'm like, okay, I want everybody to say, how does it hurt me to let other people say you too and get out of here? They gonna pay me to show them how? There's nothing.
That was Aristotle. Yeah, I made 5,000 today. It's different, man. That stock market money different. Trying to be like you, big dog. Show me the way. Trying to make 5,000 a day too, you heard? Hey, we on the way though. We on the way. We on the path. We gonna get there. But you know,
Nothing a man can do to stop you if you learn to stop.
Oops.
It don't happen overnight, and there's gonna be moments when it's really, really frustrating, and there's gonna be moments when it's really, really inspiring and empowering. And if you get too high off the highs and too low off the lows, you're gonna take yourself on a ride that's very uncomfortable. I think it's just about being committed to the work, appreciating it, when it's good and not stressing too bad when it's bad, just appreciating the work and staying focused on showing up every day.
And that's what we do here on the $1 Tickets broadcast. I'm your host, Matt Riches. We'll be back tomorrow for your pre-market briefing, where I give you levels to the downside, levels to the upside for each of our $1 tickers. And then we make money in the market. And I come back the market check-in episode and let you know how much I made. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom.